So in one of our previous tutorials, we looked at Python functions, and we said that Python functions allows you to do specific tasks, and while they seem to be very, very exhaustible, that list doesn't include everything that you might need. In some cases, you might want to create your own functions that allows you to do specific tasks when you are performing a programming activity, or even when you are into working with some kind of data. So that is why we need to learn how to write our own functions. So functions are written and beginning with the word def to mean. So anytime you see def, it's a reserved word for a function. So once you write def, the next thing that you're going to write is the name of the function that you are trying to use. So in this example, I want us to go with a very, very simple example where we are having a function that will allow the user to enter the length and the width, and then using those two variables is going to calculate the area of a rectangle. So the first thing is give the function the name, and as we said in Python, it's normally good to give names that are sensible. So I can say area, and the best idea is always to have the function name in lowercase, and if you want to separate them, it should be underscore. So my function name is area of rectangle, and then brackets, and inside brackets these are you can have the arguments. It's not necessary, but it's very, very good if you can have arguments. So these are what the function needs to perform the task. So in this case, we are only going to have two arguments, that is length and width. So let me have length, comma, width. So the function will prompt the user to insert length and width. And then after that, we follow it with a full colon, and then enter. So everything that is indented inside the function is going to be what the function does. So normally it's a good practice to give a brief description of a function by having just a simple string. This function calculates the area of a rectangle, and then the next thing that you want to do is just specify which parameters or arguments, for that matter. In this case, have it nicely written, and then I can say length, and this we can define it to be a float, and I can say length of the rectangle, and then the next argument is the width, and it's also a float. So this just gives the user extra information such that whenever you revisit your code, you know what your function was doing. Width of the rectangle, and then skip another line. And so returns basically is what your function will be returning. And this case is going to return the area, which is going to be a float, and say area of the rectangle. So this is not necessary, but it's good for the purpose of documenting your code. And now we know that area. So once the user has entered length and width, we're gonna just use that length. We know that the area of a rectangle is simply calculated by multiply the length and the width. So it's gonna be length multiplied by width, and then return area, and that marks the end of our function. We can run it, nothing will happen. But now when we want to get an answer from this, we just call our function. So you just type the name of the function, and then bracket, you must supply the length and the width. So my length is 10, width is 5. So once I do that, I expect it to multiply 10 by 5 to return an area of 50, and it exactly does that. So you can see it's 50. So the good thing about function, now we can reuse it now and again. So I can do, instead of using 10 and 50, I can have 100 and 50, and this will return 5,000. You can see it's returning 5,000. So that's the purpose of writing function, to reuse them now and again. In the next video, we are going to write still another function so that we kind of develop these skills to enable us write proper functions in Python.